live? Yay! Okay,
Hey.
hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to
Hey.
our Witcher campaign. We've been away for a couple of weeks, but yeah, hopefully we're back on track now. Um, and so we'll start with everyone. You tell me what happened to your characters last session in episode 3. So we'll start with Nova, who plays our Witcher, Rhiannon.
Hi. So last time we we started right in basically in an encounter with two headhunters who were after Katrin, and one of them had a crossbow leveled at me, and they tried to shoot me, and I managed to deflect the crossbow bolt into the other headhunter's leg, which was really cool. And we basically forced them to retreat. And after talking a little with Katrine and realizing that she's not actually a monster, we decided to stick together and pay the local lady a visit.
Okay, and Hera, Katrine, what happened to her?
Yeah, she got caught by some bounty hunters, but luckily for her, a witcher and a sorceress were there to prevent her demise. And initially, she was a bit suspicious of them, but she opened up to them and told them about her curse and about her relationship with Helena, the daughter that was also the first victim of the curse. And the Witcher was suspecting that possibly the lady, Iria, was behind the curse, so they went and paid her a visit. They were stopped again by some mercenaries and some thugs, but they were no match for the sorceress and the Witcher. And then they confronted the lady, and yeah, they learned that it was the lady that cursed her, and that she willingly sacrificed Helena because she thought, in her mind, Katrin had ruined Helena and also failed to save her son. So she meant to punish her. And in her anger, when she learned that she was so callous about her own daughter, Katrin almost used the curse against Lady Iria, but basically managed to not do that. And instead, the curse was lifted when they found, after some pressuring out, how the curse was cast upon Katrin. And when it was lifted, the magic was thrown back onto Lady Iria, who was turned into some monstrosity, and they were banned. Also, Katrin went to the tree where she liked to meet Helena, and took an acorn from it and some leaves, and left the leaves on Helena's grave, and then took the acorn with her to travel with the Witcher because she owes her life and, well, a lot more because it's
A drink.
a drink.
I think I'm the one who owes you a drink.
Yeah.
You
Or I
both
think
owe
you
me a
owe me-
drink.
I think you owe me a drink.
Yeah.
You got me
No,
fired.
you both owe me a drink.
I think Katrin owes you both a drink, definitely.
Yeah, and Vex, who plays Maeve. What happened to your character besides getting fired?
Well, aside from getting fired, and from the most part, Maeve had been sent to investigate this monster, though had her own suspicions about stuff being awry. Ended up burning a bunch of the mercenaries when they came to attack us, and really just got to watch the Witcher and the Doctor intimidate the lady while she just kind of sat at the table watching this all happen. Was nonplussed when she got thrown when the curse exploded out, if I remember properly. And from there decided she's just gonna follow them because she doesn't really want to head back right now and deal with the fact that she just got more or less fired. So
Okay, yeah. All right then. So we'll say there's been a little bit of a time lapse now. You guys camped out on the road last night, slightly off the path, and there were no disturbances that night. You were kind of a bit too close to civilization, with just only having really left the town for like any monsters to really bother you. But it's now early morning. The Witcher is an early riser, and you have the feeling that if you fail to get up, that Rhiannon probably would be happy leaving you behind. And as Rhiannon sort of rides ahead on her horse, you, Catherine and Maeve, sort of walk along behind after her, and the path sort of winds around these the trees, and you come across what appears to be sort of scorched and burnt sort of barren land, and you all recognize this, especially you, Catherine, with your past, to be the remains of a battlefield. And the smell of death and blood is very heavy on the air. There is still smoke, the sort of acrid smell of it in the back of your mouths as you walk past. And the ground is sort of soft with a mix of perhaps rain and blood. You're not entirely sure, but it does sort of soak into your shoes, except for you, Rhiannon, but you do realize it's sort of sucking at your horse's feet. And you see that there are banners for both the Temerian and the Redanian armies here, sort of hanging on bent and crooked flagpoles. Some of them have just been trampled into the mud. And the path sort of goes around this whole battlefield. What would you like to do?
Rhiannon is pretty unfazed by this because she's seen a bunch of battlefields. She's mostly concerned with just leaving this one behind her as quick as possible, because where there's a battlefield, there are ghouls, and she does not want to deal with ghouls right now. So she's just kind of, she's just kind of picking up pace a little with her horse. Like, she's not galloping or anything, but like, making the trot a little bit more brisk, and keeping an eye out for any movement, while not even saying anything, just expecting the other two to keep pace.
Okay, yeah. Catherine and Maeve, you sort of see Rhiannon dig her spurs into her horse, and the horse sort of quicken the pace a little bit.
Catherine will actually stop for a moment and also look over the battlefield, looking for any movement, however, not looking for ghouls or anything like that. She's more concerned if there may be some wounded left back on the battlefield, or if she can hear screams of pain, cries for help, something like that.
No, the air is very still, and it's kind of heavy with the smell of death. You recognize that well, Catherine. And slightly ahead, there are a few slumped figures sort of propped against some of the trees. And you can see that some sort of attempt at medical care was given to them, but they clearly perished from their wounds before they had any chance.
Yeah, if she sees nothing, can hear nothing, and the witch seems to be nervous about things, she'll also hasten her step to keep up.
Oh, Rhiannon's not nervous. She's just like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. Not
Maeve,
now, not on the morning.
Maeve, though, just keeps moving, keeping pace, and is clearly like trying to ignore the battlefield. Clearly not enjoying the smell, and even pulls out a little bottle of perfume to apply it to herself, freshen that up, because at least it'll smell better then. what's going on.
I imagine she like takes like a cloth and puts some perfume on that to like put it over.
No,
her nose.
that might ruin the cloth.
She's such a posh bitch.
Yeah.
I'm a sorceress. I have to be.
Okay. As you're riding along, more and more corpses sort of litter against trees, and some of them have either been run through with swords, other have had much crueler, longer deaths, in which parts of them were blown off and they were left to bleed out. And there are dead horses as well, which makes your horse, Rhiannon, kind of nervous. Because even though it's a Witcher-trained horse, the instinct it gets from seeing, one of its own, because horses are very good at recognizing, being a herd animal, that it's a horse dead. So it kind of freaks a little bit at that. Can you make me a roll with your Witcher senses at all?
Absolutely. D10, that's it. So that's my Witcher training or awareness?
I would say your awareness.
Okay. In that case, it's a 19.
Okay. And with the quiet of the group, and only really like your horse's like very heavy labored breaths, as you walk, you begin to hear, slightly from the side of the path, the sort of sound of things being dragged through mud, possibly feet, and then you hear the sort of telltale sound of what is a ghoul. You hear it go.
Can I discern how many ghouls there might be? Like, is it just one or more of them?
Yeah. You could. 1 second. Let me check.
Because I probably know that ghouls tend to hunt in packs.
Yeah, you can roll me your Witcher knowledge, which is your Witcher training.
Mm-hmm. That is a 20.
Yeah. You know that they aren't very intelligent. You probably said that they're about as clever as a dog, a feral dog, but they travel in packs, of usually at minimum 3, at most 6, and you can probably ascertain it's probably a fairly large-sized group considering this is a battlefield, and you can definitely hear the sounds of teeth sinking into sort of rotten, soft flesh.
Okay. When she noticed the noises, she actually stopped her horse for a second and let the other two come up to pace with her, and she kind of makes a sign for them to hold, and then she listens, hears the ghouls, and then she turns to the others and is like, be quick, there are ghouls about, and I do not want to deal with them. And then she starts giddies up her horse again, this time faster.
Just audible sigh from Maeve.
Okay. Katrine, is there anything you want to do, or are you just going to continue going after
No,
the
she
Witcher?
just continues. She does not want to deal with ghouls either.
Okay.
He's the one who wants to deal with the ghouls the least.
Okay. And as you sort of get closer to this battlefield, you actually recognize from up on your horse, where you are at the front of the group, Rhiannon, over a sort of slope that has been sort of man-made, for artillery to kind of hide behind, that you see a few moving shapes, very distinctive, loping on, all fours, the bony protrusions of hips. And again, you hear that noise, that noise. I'm going to ruin my voice doing this. Yeah.
Okay. Ghouls probably have pretty good hearing and stuff, so she just Rhiannon doesn't even say anything. She just gestures to her party, like that she sees the ghouls over there, and she kind of do we have to like cross like through the middle of the battlefield, or can we just like go around it a little?
This kind of pathway kind of goes through the battlefield already. Like a battlefield was kind of like basically made on top of this like normal route that would have just gone through northward. So it will go through, but it seems that because you're not really on like the outer parts, that there are less bodies kind of here on the pathway. At least it's just a small area there.
Okay.
Where a couple seem to be milling around.
Okay. Yeah. Rhiannon doesn't make any attempts to like swerve from the route or anything, because at least here's a trodden path, more or less. So she just kind of keeps an eye on that hill and like slides the spear out of the holster on her horse and just kind of has it ready, like someone like like a cavalrist would have.
Yeah. Everyone, make me stealth rolls.
Also, as Catherine sees Ryan ready her spear, she takes a moment to pull out her hunting bow and string it.
Maeve brings out brings out her staff.
Nice. This is almost as good as I could have rolled. This is a 17.
Oh, an 11.
Okay. Catherine, what did you get?
17 as well.
Okay. Katrine and Rhiannon, even Rhiannon on your horse, you're kind of trained enough to like know how to maneuver it across onto more drier parts of land where the mud won't make such a noise as you traverse across. But Maeve, you what clothes are you wearing again? Are you wearing like a dress or?
Probably should be into her more traveling clothes. She knows better than to try to travel in a dress. That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah. So you're traversing across. You've got these sort of slacks, trousers kind of things, and some boots. And as you're walking across, the heel of your boot gets wedged in mud, and you fall forward, and your foot comes out of the boot, and you hit the mud, hands down, on the ground, and immediately, Rhiannon, you just hear the sort of stop, dead.
Rhiannon, I don't think she stops at. Well, no, she does stop her horse and she looks at Maeve and she's like, "Fuck."
There we go.
And then
you were almost going to say it first, and then you stopped and was like, "Let me contextualize, then say it."
And she basically whips around her horse and has her spear ready and looks at the hill, just knowing that they're gonna come any minute.
So the hill is kind of like to the side of you, and what comes loping from round one side to like in front of you where your horse is, Rhiannon, is one of these ghouls. It comes loping along, with its splintered claws, and it's still got pieces of like dead flesh hanging from its mouth. And from the back, round where you are, Maeve, where you're lying kind of prone on the ground at the moment, a ghoul comes rushing that way, and over the top of the hill, like onto the hill itself, another ghoul comes running to see what's going on. And as they take stock of you all three of them, one who clearly seems to be a bit bigger than the other ones, not exactly like an owl ghoul, because owl ghouls would have big spikes, but sometimes they act a bit like dogs, and one will take a lead of a pack. And it begins sort of making that noise and lunges, and the others follow suit. So everyone roll initiative, which is a D10 plus your reflex.
Oh boy.
You're welcome.
Okay. Reflex, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. D10 plus reflex is 18.
Okay.
17.
I was muted, sorry.
That's all right. Again, I'll be running the monsters in one block. Okay. And Rhiannon, you're up first.
Okay, how many ghouls are there?
There are 3 in total.
Okay. How bunched up are they?
There is one directly in front of you, one about 10 feet behind you, by where Maeve is lying on the ground, one up on the hill, which is about 5 feet above your head, and 5 feet away from you as well.
Okay. So... Okay. Since I am on my horse right now, I'm gonna whip it around and like make a little swerve, like start to gallop and make a little swerve and come back to ram the first ghoul that's like that was in front of me with my horse, and then go over to the other one and stab that one from my horse with my spear.
Okay. Yeah. I'll say you don't need to make a roll for the first one with your horse, because as you turn your horse around anyway, it's going to take up enough room that it will kick that ghoul out of the way anyway. So you send it kind of shoved back 5 feet.
Okay. Do I have to make the control roll for the cavalry stuff like it's in the book?
Yes, you need to.
Yeah, it's reflex, riding.
Yes.
And then the control mod plus D10.
Yeah.
The control mod for a horse is +2. So let's see. Okay. Reflex is 10 plus riding is 2 plus 7 is 19 plus 2 is 21 on the control.
Yep. You pull the horse around with 100% practiced ease. And yeah, you can make that roll to hit the ghoul that you were aiming at.
Nice. The one for the spear.
Yeah, with the spear.
Okay. I'm gonna do the damage for the ramming first, because that technically happens first, which is a 3d6 with my horse. So it just kind of tramples over it and deals 13 points of damage.
Yeah. You sort of hear the hooves strike this creature very heavily, and it sort of scatters back into the mud, and will take a moment to gather itself. And yeah, which one are you attacking next?
The one that's by Maeve.
Okay.
Back, and I'm gonna do that as a strong strike, because it feels weird to do 2 pokes from a horse.
Yeah.
So that's no, come on, PDF, please. It's 18 plus 5 is 23.
Okay.
Wait, does the 20 to hit.
Yeah, roll your damage.
Nice. Okay, in that case it's 4d6 times 2. Okay, that's the silver, and this is the... Okay, so it's 12, 17, 17 silver and 1 normal, so 18 times 2 is 36 points of damage.
Yeah, okay. You feel the ground, Maeve, where you're lying on it, stuck in the mud. You feel the ground sort of thunder underneath you, trembling very heavily. And this witcher comes charging past on this huge horse and slams into this ghoul, sort of impaling it sort of clean with this spear. And the creature sort of jerks weirdly for a moment and then slumps off dead.
I imagine she doesn't even stop her movement. She just kind of impales the ghoul, picks it up, takes it with her a couple feet, and then just kind of slides, throws it off her spear to make another round.
Yeah, definitely. And Maeve, it's now your turn. You have this dead ghoul at your feet.
Well, first thing I'm gonna do is pick myself up.
Yeah, you're covered in mud.
Very very angry. How close is the nearest ghoul to me? The nearest living ghoul.
Okay, there is one that is at the front where Katrine is, which is 10 feet away from you, and there is one that's about 5 feet away from you, but it's also 5 feet up on top of this hill.
All right. Well, I figure the one on the ground, the Witcher and Kathleen can take care of.
Oh no, he has the high ground.
As I'm gonna I'm gonna cast Aina at them, at the one up above us.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
So I'll roll my spell casting. That is 23.
Yep.
Fire.
Damage.
All right. My damage is 4d6s. I need 2 more d6s. There we go. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points of damage. And actually, I'm gonna and I have a 75% chance to light it on fire.
Okay.
So I'm gonna roll that, or
You can roll that. Mm-hmm.
It is on fire. I rolled a 70.
Okay. Yep. Yep. It's on fire. Yeah, it's like shrieking. And you notice that this fire attack is very effective against it. And it's now Katrine's turn. You still have this one ghoul that's been sort of staggered back by the horse, but it's still up and it's still incredibly angry and it's still incredibly close to you. Oh, you're on mute, by the way, Hera.
How close is it exactly, Sorry?
It's about 5, maybe 4 feet.
Oh, okay.
So quite close.
Quite close, yeah. So, okay, yeah. Would the point blank weapon bonus for range apply then? Is it close enough for that?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Because then Katrine, she has a bow ready. She's going to knock an arrow, draw back as far as she can, and loosen it at it as I make a strong attack against the ghoul.
Okay.
So
Try and dodge out the way.
that is. Wait, where's my modifier? Uh, 15 total.
1 second. Yeah. Yeah. You can roll your damage. So I was just checking that I'd done the math right.
Okay, and since it's a strong attack, I double the damage.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 13.
Mm-hmm.
So 26.
Okay. Yeah. You fire your bow, and the arrow sort of this close goes straight through, and like impales it sort of as it's screeching at you, like through the back of its mouth and out the back of its head, and it just collapses. Its legs just go from under it, and it hits the ground. And that now leaves one ghoul that's on fire and very pissed off. And as it's sort of burning, you can even hear and smell like its skin sort of cooking its flesh. It comes lumbering down that hill, and with its distance, it comes lumbering and leaps at you, Katrine, and it is gonna try and attack you. Okay.
I'm going to try and basically she sees the thing coming at her and she's just trying to get out of the way of it, just rolling to the side.
Okay. That's a 23. You've got to contest against.
Oh, I rolled a 10, so that is a 20 total, and I think if I roll a 10, I can roll another dice and add it on top, right?
You mean like critical?
On critical success, or is it only on hits?
I don't think
so. It's only on hits.
It's on damage, I think.
Let me check. I think it is only on hits. I think.
I think it doesn't it also work on like
Wait, no.
skill checks?
Yeah, it works on skill checks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I had to remember the
so I actually have a chance to await the 23.
Yeah.
No, I rolled a 2.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay. It's going to attack you with its bite. It's 3d6. That's 18 damage.
Ow.
Give me a second. I just need to know percent. Yeah, you are now bleeding.
Ow. Yeah, I'm also 18. Since that's a lot, I'm actually going to like take some of that on my armor.
Okay, yeah.
So it's only 15.
Yeah.
That hurt. That
Yeah,
hurt. Where does it hit me, by the way?
I'll say because of the height it is, it kind of lunges and catches you like in your middle, like midriff, because they're about 1 meter high.
Okay.
These creatures. So it basically like it bites you, but it just manages as its like teeth sort of rake across some of your armor, like it sinks in a gap basically, and manages to tear and start bleeding. And it's now Rhiannon's turn. There's this one ghoul that's attacking Katrine.
Yeah, she sees that and is like, fuck, shit. And then she turns her horse around, goes another loop, and does the
Nobody
whole...
muted.
Oh yeah, nobody muted. People keep doing this today.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the theme of this episode.
I'm not gonna lie, I tried
You're
to tell
muted.
you were muted while I was muted.
Yeah, she sees the attack. She's like, fuck, shit. And then she turns her horse around, does another loop, and does the whole like ram and stab thing again. And I have to correct myself. The ramming is part of the 2 attacks that I can do. So I can if I do fast strikes, I can do a normal spear attack and then the ramming.
Yeah.
So I do that. I try to trample the ghoul with my horse and stab it while I'm at it. So I'm basically rolling for it to attack and for the control. Okay. So my attack is 23. And my control for the riding is 21.
It's going to try and dodge, so that's 8 plus 6, 14 plus 7. That's 21. I don't think that's successful, is it, in dodging? What did you get again, sorry?
I got a 23 for the stab and a 21 for the ramming with the horse.
Okay, it manages to dodge the ramming, but you do get it on your spear.
It dodges out of the way of the horse into the spear.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, it's a D16. Also, I read and I remembered that I also have to add 2d6 to whichever damage I do while charging, because with the horse I'm charging. Yeah. So that's 4, 10, 12, 16, and then plus 2d10, 21, 22 points of spear damage.
Yeah. Tell me how you kill this last one then.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna do a cool. Yeah, I charge at it with my horse, and as I see that the horse kind of misses, Rhiannon jumps out of her saddle and like with her spear kind of like and just impales slams the spear through its head into the ground. Mm-hmm. right in front of Katrin, like Jaw.
Yeah, with that much force that like it kind of sends this wet mud sort of splashing up, and it does like hit Katrin across like the bottom of her legs.
There's probably some ghoul blood and stuff too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and then
but yeah, you are now all out of initiative.
yeah, she gets up and like kind of dislodges her spear from the skull, just kind of rams it out there, cleans it off, and she looks at Catherine like, "You alright?"
Catherine looks at the wound that is like down there and sees that she's bleeding, as you said. I think you said Catherine is bleeding, right?
Yes, you are bleeding. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Then she's like she's basically going to like hold out the bow and arrow to Rhiannon to like hold this, please.
Yeah,
no, I'm not okay.
Yeah,
she
Rhiannon, you see this sort of blood seeping through Catherine's fingers.
She's like, oh, and she takes the bow and arrow to hold. It's like, do you need help with that? I know you're a doctor, so
I think I can do it myself. And she like basically cuts open where she was bitten, like cuts away the cloth so she can clearly see the wound, and first off starts she has something for that, if I remember correctly. She has disinfecting fluids.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, sterilization fluid. That is what it's called. Uses that to disinfect her hands and also the wound itself, and then is going to start and patch up herself. Ooh, that was not a great roll. Still a 20 for the healing hands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with this wound, you'll have to... You think it's at least like 2 days of applying, treatment to it.
Meanwhile, Maeve collects her boots that she fell out of.
Yeah.
Puts her foot back in it and just angrily trudges to like the driest land and starts to try and kind of clean herself up. But I will note, she still looks really good because she does have glamour on.
Yes, you do.
Because she is a posh bitch.
Yeah. You're like a disaster, but you're owning it. Yeah, there is like a tree stump that's relatively dry. It's a little bit damp from like the cold and wet air, but like it's not soaking like the ground is. So
kind of puts her bedroll on, puts her satchel on it just to kind of make it so she's not sitting on it, and cleans herself off as best she can right now.
Yeah, Rhiannon just kind of leaves Catherine to it because she said she can handle it, so Rhiannon does not have any reason not to believe that. So...
And besides, the only way you could help possibly is to like give them swallow, but you can't because it's lethal to humans. So
exactly. So she kind of whistles and calls her horse back over because she kind of like kept it running in one direction. And her horse magically teleports like 3 feet away from her and then kind of trots her. And she cleans off her spear, puts it back on her horse, and then she just like kind of casually looks to Maeve, is like, mud, like what's called mud mask for the skin stuff. Perfect.
Just unimpressed. I am super tempted to light you on fire. Look.
Catherine is like, this is going to leave a mark.
Rhiannon is very pleased with herself for that jab.
You do know, however, that now that you've dispatched this pack of ghouls, that there is more likely to be more on the way. So yeah, it's up to you if you want to kind of like move straight out, or.
Yes, Rhiannon will probably, while Catherine is patching herself up anyway, she'll probably go over to the ghouls and just like grab some of the monster parts, like as ingredients from them.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so give me a second. You get from the 3 ghouls. You get 8 ghoul marrow from the bones, 6 claws, and 6 venom extract.
Okay,
Altogether.
awesome.
Yeah, you see this witcher like diligently like cutting it apart. All these carcasses.
I mean, Maeve isn't surprised. If she wasn't so annoyed at being gross right now, she would have probably tried to do the same.
Yeah. And Maeve, just to really rub some salt in the wounds, you also notice as well that from where Rhiannon saved you essentially from that ghoul, you also have some ghoul entrails and blood spattered up the front of your nice sort of traveling clothes.
Nice travel clothes. Yeah, of course.
Nice.
She'll have to pay someone to clean those later.
As soon as Rhiannon is done with that, she's kind of she looks back over to Maeve and Catherine like, are we good to continue? There will be more soon, so we should move.
Yes, let's go. I need a
Yeah,
bath.
I could also use that because she rolled through the mud to get away from the ghoul, but still got hit.
Rhiannon looks at Catherine and is like, can you walk? Can you travel?
Yeah,
or...
I'll be fine.
Okay, if you can, tell me. I do have a horse.
Okay. And you begin, Rhiannon in your case riding off, and the other two keeping pace next to the horse. And it's another about an hour's travel. Eventually you come across the other side of the battlefield, and luckily don't meet any more necrophages along the way. You actually can see some of them sort of like loping and milling around in the far distance, clearly like invested in a corpse pile, so not so much interested in the actual living. And you begin to see coming up ahead of you the small sort of scattered buildings of a village. And Rhiannon, you know this village pretty well. It's called Brenna. You have stopped here a few times on the path. It's kind of not exactly a frequent stop, but a liked spot by witchers to stop off. And you know exactly where you're going in regards to a tavern being here. And you know that this tavern, what strikes you as strange as you approach, the building is entirely the same except for the sign. It now reads the Lilies, but you know it should be called the Temerian Lilies, and it looks like the paintwork on the word Temerian has been roughly scraped off. The lights are on, and you can see a couple candles and the glow of candlelight coming out onto the street, and you can hear a few voices.
Okay. Yeah, Rihanna is happy about seeing this place because she's very much looking forward to having a decent pint of ale, and she just kind of looks at the signs like, okay, and she gets off her horse. I assume there are like stables at the tavern as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
There's like an adjoining stable. It's not posh enough to have like a stable hand or anything, but you can hitch your own horse in there.
Okay, yeah. She'll guide her horse over there, hitch it off, and before moving away, she just kind of like goes to the front of the horse and like gives a little scritch and says thank you in Elle's speech for like helping her with the ghouls and stuff. And she actually she makes sure that her horse doesn't have any like cuts or bruises from the ghoul spikes and everything when she trampled one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, your horse appears completely fine.
Okay.
It seems like the shoes kind of took the brunt of dealing damage.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, she just kind of like pats it and is like, I'll be back. And then she goes over to the door and kind of like gestures with her head the other way, so going in. Then she opens the door and heads in, not even waiting for the others.
As I say, probably while you were doing your whole thing, Maeve already has walked into the tavern.
Even better.
Leaving muddy boot prints behind.
Yes. Very angry, stompy brute prints.
Yeah,
Also,
Catherine
for
would have
note, I
also
don't know
followed her.
If it was noticed,
immediately.
Maeve always wears heeled boots too. Like,
Yeah.
because
Of course he does.
you gotta show
she,
up.
yeah, she's a sorceress. What do you expect?
Exactly.
Rhiannon
Gotta make that 6 foot tall even taller.
Rhiannon is probably the only one who barely has any mud on her boots, but she still kind of like kicks the door frame to get some of it off to not make a mess of the tavern. And then she goes in as well.
Okay. Yeah. When Katrine and Maeve head inside, nobody really raises their head. They kind of quick glance at you, carry on with their conversations and such. And when the Witcher walks in, there's a silence that falls on the room. People stop talking, but not in a way that you're used to for a Witcher, in that sort of tense, like, atmosphere way. This is actually kind of a welcoming atmosphere. And an elderly man, you two notice, turns around upon seeing Rhiannon and breaks into like a bright smile, and even gets up to hold his hand out to Rhiannon in greeting, and says, by the gods as I live and breathe, it's Rhiannon. And you haven't been back here in about 20 years or so, Rhiannon. And it takes you a moment, but you recognize this man to be Dag, who's the alderman of the village. He looks 20 years older for sure.
Yeah,
How that happens.
As soon as she comes in and people stop doing anything, she just kind of like, carry on. And then she goes over to the alderman and actually gives him a smile and like grabs his hand and like the warrior shake kind of. And he's like, Dag, it's nice to see you too.
Yeah, and feeling your handshake, he just laughs and says, still as strong as ever, I see. And he looks you in the face and goes, you ain't aged today, but what else could I expect of a Witcher?
Well, you on the other hand have. You're looking old and crusty by now.
Don't I know it, my friend? And yeah, he kind of just, that's banter between you two. Yeah, the atmosphere kind of picks up again, and the whole place is very welcoming. And so there are some people here that you don't know, Rhiannon, but you could guess that from the age that they are, kind of in their late teens, that they were probably born while you weren't here, so you've never known them. The barmaid has changed. You don't see the old one that you used to know, and you also see in the corner, sort of sat off, is a woman, and next to her at her feet is a very huge shape of a wolfhound, sort of curled around her feet.
Aw. A puppo.
A puppy. And the alderman says to you, Rhiannon, he gestures to you to come sit. And when he sees Katrine and Maeve sort of hanging around near you, he goes, are these friends of yours?
Rhiannon looks at them and is like, we're traveling together for the time being.
And he looks between you all, just sort of shakes his head, and then like gestures to Katrine and Maeve. And he's like, come on, sit down.
First, I'm gonna need a bath. Is there somewhere to do that here?
The bath? You'd have to ask Greta. And he points at the young woman behind the bar.
All right, Maeve's gonna immediately walk over to her.
Okay.
Katrine moves herself over. Like you can clearly see she's having some pain. Also, like after the fight, she actually basically inhaled some of her own numbing herbs because it's painful. It hurts. And she's like a little bit like out of it. She's like, you can clearly see she's like a little bit dazed by this more or less, and she's like, Just ale for me, the Witcher, and the Sorceress.
Whereas like the good ale, the one under the counter.
Yes, I'm paying.
Dag kind of shrugs and he says, "Nah, you won't get much good to drink around here anymore. We don't sell Temerian rye now."
Like, I mean, Temerian stuff wasn't the best in the first place, but why is that? I also saw the sign.
You know that this like bar anyway kind of had Temerian rye that was like better. It was kind of like sort of like grown in the village and produced there, so that's why it was better. But he shrugs and he says, well, didn't you see the battlefield on the way here?
I did indeed.
Our lad's lost its Redanian land now. And your mind kind of connects to the Temerian being crossed out of the sign.
Well, do the Redanians have any good ale?
And he laughs and he says, "You might as well drink your own piss."
Thought so. In that case, I'm gonna have one of your whiskeys. Oh no.
Oh no, she's frozen.
Oh no, have I frozen?
You're back!
You froze for a second.
You froze like in like a really
Yeah.
funny phase. I didn't get enough time to screen cap it like I always try to.
But he hasn't seen you in a while, so he offers to pay for like your drink, Rhiannon. So he covers the cost of what would be like, you know, a shot of spirits, which is usually about 5 gold, and then a bottle is like 10 plus. So he just gets you like a couple of shots in glass.
Nice.
And covers the cost for you. And he goes, "Truth be told, Rhiannon, it's mighty good that you've passed through."
Is it now?
And he says, "We've been having trouble as of late." And he says, I'm thinking we need a witcher to step in and do the work. And we will now take a break here."
Nice.
Hey.
So we can put the raffle up during the break, and you can enter to win a PDF copy of the Witcher TTRPG cool rulebook that we use via and courtesy of the lovely people at Artalsorian Games. So we will go on break, and we will see you in about 5 minutes.
seems we're...
Hey!
We are back. Okay, so yeah, you can continue entering this raffle as we go. It's exclamation mark heroes, isn't it? The command.
Yeah.
So you can enter like until the end of the stream, which is when we pick the winner. But yeah, we are now in the redacted Lily's tavern, and we've met Dag, and Rhiannon has been talking to him, and he reckons he is in need of a witcher. And Maeve and Katrine at this time, I'll say that you've gone and got your drinks, and the woman behind the bar, whose name is Greta, she is now running a hot bath for you, Maeve.
Good.
And she also offers a laundry service as well, so you can
She
get your
would-
clothes washed.
She would immediately take her up on that too.
Yeah. So you've come back and you're changed in your spare clothes while your laundry's being done, basically.
She's actually wearing her nicer clothes, not her traveling clothes.
Oh boy.
They're both really nice, but
looking very out of place. With all these like grown clothes. Surrounded by a bunch of peasants, basically. And the woman behind the bar, Greta, she seemed kind of in awe of you. Because you're like this 6 foot tall elven sorceress, and everybody knows that the elven blood is very potent with magical power. So she basically is like, I'll do whatever you say in case you curse me or do something horrible to me.
She's to quote a phrase, she's caroused.
Yes, she's caroused. And you have come back to Rhiannon talking to this old man, and you've sort of come back as he's talking about him being in need of a witcher.
Yeah, Rhiannon probably was like sitting with him at a table or at the bar or something, and she just kind of leans in a little and she's like, is it about the ghouls? Because we already took care of some.
And he says, oh, I wish it were, but it's and he says, it's it's a strange affair. We've been having attacks coming from the main trail out of town. And as you can kind of see, he says, we're simple folk, and we can't be doing hunting or foraging, and every time we go in there, someone doesn't come back. And he says, you can ask Erla over there, and he points to the woman with the big wolfhound around her feet. He says, she barely made it out of there with her own life a couple of days ago.
All right, I can do that for you.
And he says, but we got a body. If you want to be looking at it, it's the only one we've been able to get.
Sure, I can.
Do you have any free rooms here that we can take?
Any what? Sorry.
Katrine asked us if they have. Do you have any free rooms we can take? I have a wound that needs tending to, and.
Yeah, I'll say you asked Greta that, and rooms are pretty cheap. They're 4 gold per night per person.
Yeah, and Katrin will also ask for a bath and cleaning, because she's also pretty dirtied up, and also asks if no wait, she's pretty good with a needle, so she can patch up her own clothes.
I'm the only one posh enough to get someone else to do that for me at this point.
She's going to have someone wash it, but because she doesn't want to like hand washing can be quite the strenuous activity actually when it's full of mud and blood, and she doesn't want to do that right now herself because
blood. Her blood is on the outside right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rhiannon says, I can do that for you. I'm free for work as it seems. What's what's the rate?
He says, nah, that's a hard question because we don't know what it is, so we can't really put a price on it. Tell you what, you bring back whatever it is, most likely dead, please. Don't want to be dealing with whatever it is alive. But you be bringing back whatever beastie's head it is, and we'll pay you for it, depending on what it is.
You know, I normally don't do work in advance, but since we know each other, so let's say you let me and my two companions stay free for the night, and I'll deal with whatever it is that's plaguing you, and then when I come back with it, we'll talk payment.
Maeve's already paid and just shrugs.
He nods. He says, sure. That sounds fair enough. Says, no, Rhiannon, I still owe you for that Ekimara. You know, about what was it now? About 25 years ago.
That you do.
And he says, you know, you got paid handsomely for that job. Like you'll remember, like you got paid like almost 300 gold because the alderman got in contact with surrounding villages that were also being affected by it. And everyone sort of piled together on that. So you got paid quite well.
That's basically why Rhiannon is very lenient with not getting paid in advance here.
Yeah. And he says, I trust you to be doing a decent job. I wouldn't trust many other witchers with a job like this.
I appreciate it, and you can consider this thing resolved.
And he hands you. He says you'll be needing this then, and he hands you a key. This key is to the sort of like underground cellar outside of his house. You know where it is, Rhiannon. And he says we've been storing the body there. He's going to be buried tomorrow. But I don't know if you can make any head or sense of it, because we sure can't.
We'll see. I'm gonna head there right away, but first I'm gonna talk to your what was her name?
Ella, the huntress.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to her first, and then we'll look at the body.
Okay.
Yeah. Catherine is going to ask him, do you have any wounded or sick in town?
No, we've been pretty well on health lately. Apart from the ones that go in the forest and get themselves killed. Barring Erla, that is. But she's been treated already. Only a twisted ankle and a couple of bruises.
Okay. Well, spread the word. As long as I'm in town, I can look after things. I'm a skilled doctor.
And he nods and he says, "Thank you for your kindness."
And she looks down on her own wound. Not as much a skilled fighter.
And he looks pointedly at Rhiannon, who's like kitted out with all these weapons and heavy armor, and he says, "Well, not many of us are."
Rhiannon already like stood up and like was about to go over to the woman. She's like, "You got that right." And then she walks over to sit down next to the woman.
Maeve's actually gonna follow Rhiannon for this. She's curious. She has curiosity on what this thing is.
You move over to sit on this bench then at this table where this huntress is sat, and her big sort of wolfhound lifts its head and makes like a noise before putting its head back down. Content. yeah. This woman, Erla, she looks up at you, and gives you a pointed like, "What can I do for you?" kind of look.
Yeah, Rhiannon sits down without asking, just like kind of gives her dog a little scritch on the head, and she says, "The alderman over there said you had a little problem in the woods lately, and I heard that you were one of the few ones who survived it."
She scoffs and she says, "Little problem. Yeah, you would say that, wouldn't he? More like up shit creek without a paddle." And she says, "Begging your pardon, Master Witcher." And then she says, "Well, how much do you know already? You know that a body's been pulled out the woods?"
Indeed, I do. Not much else, though. I'm afraid nobody's. He says nobody's really seen what's attacked you so far. So I would hope, or I hope that you could give us a little more insight about that.
She nods. She says, "I don't think it's a beast. Not in a monstrous kind of sense. You see, she says, I know my arrows and my weapons pretty well." And she indicates to the bow and like the quiver that sort of sat astride her chair. She says, "And monsters, in my opinion, from what I've seen, don't typically use bows and arrows to shoot people. And I should know because very close call with whatever it was in the woods. It was definitely an arrow that passed me by."
You're right about that. Monsters usually don't use bow and arrow. You know, I'm in the monster hunting business, not in the people hunting business. But I already agreed to look into this, so I might as well. Do you have any of the arrows that pricked your people?
Yeah. She shakes her head. She went, "I don't have any. Too busy running for my goddamn life." But I'm pretty sure if you go check that body in Dag's basement, you'll most likely find something in him. He was covered in holes, if I recall correctly.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. And yeah, she just ups and leaves. she was like,
Yeah.
Am I gonna say anything else? No.
Yeah. She just gives you like a courteous nod. That kind of understands that, like, getting on with shit kind of type thing.
I got booze to drink. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Like,
She
and
goes
since
back to her drink.
yeah, and since Maeve kind of puppy-tailed after Rhiannon, she just kind of like gives her like a smack at the shoulder, like, come on, move.
Okay.
Yeah. In the meantime, Catherine would have also taken some time to take a bath and get into new clothes, and also check that she stitched herself up correctly.
Yeah.
See if she needs to do any corrections on that, change the bandage and such. Would now come back down. Don't know how long this would have exactly taken.
Yeah. Well, I would say you're pretty skilled, so it probably would have taken you about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You're kind of used to stitching up wounds like in the middle of a battle, so
Yeah.
Quick, dirty, get it done effectively.
Yeah.
You're probably
Doesn't need to be pretty.
You're probably coming down right as Rhiannon is about to head out the door, and she just like she sees Catherine, is like, "Hey, we have work to do."
Well, I heard there's a body, so maybe I can be of help.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of like early afternoon now, like just afternoon. As you head out, and Rhiannon, you lead them basically kind of directly across where the alderman's house is. It's a little bit bigger than the surrounding houses, but still built in the same sort of style. And you see this sort of heavy trapdoor sitting to the side of the house, and you slot the key in the lock and open it. and there is a ladder that sort of goes down. And already with like your heightened witcher senses, you can smell very sort of sweet smell of like death, basically. That sort of sweet smell.
Yeah. Yeah, Rihanna is pretty unfazed, just kind of like just going down the stairs. Probably no, she doesn't even need a torch because she can see in the darkness anyway.
Oh, it's lit down here with little candles.
Okay, even better then. So yeah, she just kind of like very casually goes over to where they have the bodies. She kind of like has one of her hands in like a little pocket that's on her chest. It's kind of like rummaging around in there. Well, she just goes over to the body and starts to inspect it to see like anything obvious, like arrows sticking out of it.
Maeve, Katrine, and Rhiannon, you basically come to this sort of slab where it would be like a table just for sort of storing things on top of, that's sort of been turned into like the equivalent of a mortuary slab, and you see this man sort of lying shirtless on the table, and he's roughly in his 30s, and you can see very clearly from the kind of like build of him, and the clothes that have sort of been left next to him as well, that he was most likely a hunter, and you see that sort of shoved, sort of pushed through his body in random places, like through the chest and the stomach. You see that there are sort of puncture wounds. Yeah, so you could do. Let's see.
So they actually like removed the arrows by like pushing them through?
No, not exactly. It looks to you more, Katrine, this is kind of a procedure you'd recognize more, where instead of pushing the arrow through because it's too deep, you break the shaft off first, and then typically you would cut the wound further open to remove the head. But whatever reason, the heads have not been removed. You can kind of see like the glint of metal stuck in the sort of rigid, cold skin.
Okay. Yeah, Rhiannon would probably examine the body for traces of monster attacks, just to make sure, like just to confirm that it indeed wasn't a monster.
Yeah, you could roll your monster lore.
So my Witcher training. 7 and 22.
No, you don't see any like recent monster attack marks. You can see that there's like a claw mark around his leg, which could possibly have come from a drowner at some point. But other than that, but that wound has like been long since healed, like at least 10 years since it's healed. But yeah, other than that, it seems to be the arrows that did him in.
Okay.
Maeve just kind of looks to the doctor.
Yeah, Rhiannon's like, well, it definitely wasn't a monster, so she looks at Katrine. Can you make anything from it?
You said that the arrow wounds were random?
Yeah, they're kind of just like, they look random, but they're all like in specific places that would cause enough damage to kill someone.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what it was. Basically, the one in the chest is probably aimed at the heart.
Yeah, there is.
That's
one,
what I figure.
Yeah,
or the
there's
lung.
one that's there's one that's aimed that has clearly cracked through his sternum, which would have hit the heart. But there's also ones that possibly hit before that. One's gone through his lung, one through his stomach, one through his gut, and then one through. You actually see, as you get closer, on his thigh, which is sort of still covered by the leggings he's wearing, but you can see it very deliberately cut through the artery, the femoral artery. These were very deliberate shots.
Maeve already has suspicions of what this is.
Katrine points out these wounds, and whoever shot these, they were very precise. They seemed random, but...
You, I'll say, Rhiannon, as you sort of left the body to the doctor, you actually see on a wine rack, which is empty of any bottles, but on top is a sort of small pile of what appears to be the arrow shafts that have been cut off.
Okay. Yeah, Rina would definitely go over to check those out. Because she also has some suspicions, but she wants to confirm them.
Yeah, you pick them up. There are 5 of them in total to match the 5 holes in this body. And the shafts are very dark wood. They've almost been like painted black, almost, or well, stained black with resins and dyes. The fletches on them are black, white, and brown. And they're all bird feathers, like natural bird feathers that have been tied onto this. And you can see that there is blood up to halfway on the shafts. And the shafts are pretty long, like about this long and about halfway up. So you can actually see how hard these arrows hit to cause blood spatter that far up. And you recognize them, these shafts at least. They are elven in design. You need to see the arrowheads to be completely sure about what kind of elves would use these.
Yeah, she...
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, Catherine would actually start and complete the procedure to remove one of the arrowheads.
Okay, yeah. You won't need to make a roll for it. It takes you a little bit longer than you expected, because as you're cutting and trying to pull it out, you realize that this arrowhead has been designed in a way that it's supposed to grip and stay in the body. And as you pull it out, there's bits of dead flesh stuck to it still. You see that these arrowheads are all barbed, and Maeve and Rhiannon would recognize these in particular to be those of the Scoia'tael.
Yeah.
Maeve
just kind of like, I figured as much. Yes.
Yeah, Rhiannon is coming back over with one of those shafts, and she just kind of holds it to the rest of the arrows, like, well, guess the village does not have a monster problem, but a squirrel problem.
Maeve gives Rhiannon a look.
Yeah.
What are you saying here, Witcher?
What? It's their name. And she kind of looks at Katrin, is like, just like expectantly to see if Katrin knows anything about the Scoia'tael, or if there's just like, huh? What?
I mean, I figure she heard of them.
Yeah, you.
At the very least.
From where you come from, Katrin, you would know them by their nickname, the common nickname, which is just squirrels. That's what you'd know them as, which is the sort of base translation of the Elder speech of Scoia'tael. So you just know them as squirrels.
So not a Witcher problem then?
Well, technically not, but I already accepted the contract, so I guess I might as well. We won't find them at this hour. It's close to getting dark.
It's midday.
It's midday.
Oh, I thought you said like late evening.
It's just afternoon. No.
Afternoon. Okay.
We definitely don't
case,
want to encounter them at night.
Yeah.
That is a poor choice.
You hear coming from the entrance to this cellar that you've opened, you hear Erla's voice suddenly shout down, and she goes, "Master Witcher, you down there?"
Aye.
She says, "I've been thinking I could take you to the place that, well, he was attacked."
Like right now? Or...
She says, "Whenever you're ready, Master Witcher."
And she kind of, she looks at Maeve and Rhiannon. It's like, we can go now. Like, I can go now. You don't have to.
As much as I trust your fighting skills, I doubt you're going to be able to take on all the Scoia'tael here. If you do get into a fight with them.
You can roll. I would say either
Deduction?
streetwise or deduction.
For
For about the square tile.
Oh, okay. In my case, that's a 24.
Which one was that for? Deduction. Or
Deduction.
Streetwise
Okay.
or deduction.
Okay, you would know then. For you, the square tile, they can be reasoned with, and though they do attack humans, they kind of attack humans that have deliberately agitated them in some way. It's never random attacks like this seems to be. So like you'd probably see this problem more in places where soldiers were holding, or had control of the area. But this doesn't seem to be what's going on here. It just seems to be that this poor bloke who seemed to be walking through the woods at the wrong time got shot.
I mean, there was recently an army nearby, so probably why.
Yeah. Well, Rhiannon has had contact with the Squirtle before, so she's reasonably sure how to talk to him. But she won't keep Catherine and Maeve to come from coming with her if they want to.
Catherine will say, I rather not be trudging through the woods.
Fair. You can stay
Right
here
now.
at the inn, and
I'll come with you.
keep an eye on my horse, maybe.
I'll keep an eye on your horse.
Okay.
Also on the cat.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And then she just kind of turns around and goes up the stairs.
Okay. So who's going into the woods then?
Me and Maeve.
Okay.
And I'm assuming our guide.
And Erla and her dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Rhiannon just kind of comes up and is like, "Yeah, we can go right now."
Yeah, Maeve will just quickly dip into the thing. She'd grab her staff, because she did leave that back. Because at least that'll ease everyone of worrying that she's just going to instantly incinerate them.
Yeah. You come out of the cellar, and Erla notices, Maeve and Rhiannon sort of preparing to go with her, and notices Katrine sort of hanging back to go, and she looks at Katrine and she says, "You sure you don't want to be taking a doctor with you? You saw what happened to the other bloke."
We'll be fine. I don't expect this to be to end in a way that we'll be needing one.
She shrugs and she says, "Well, ain't you hopeful then?" And she begins walking, and she whistles and she says, "Come on, Pike." And the big wolfhound comes loping after her.
Kara is in love right now with the
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's a big Irish wolfhound, if you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's a big boy.
Big boy.
Rhiannon isn't taking her spear with her because she's not hunting monsters, but she does have her Witcher sword on her hip, like always.
I just now imagine. Oh yeah, we're not hunting monster. Surprise! Ancient lesson. Have fun.
Yeah, immediate death. Suddenly it's a higher vampire.
I was about to say higher vampire, and he's like, "We're screwed. We're boned."
Okay. She leads you then into the woods. And you see Erla keeps casting looks back at Katrine, who you're leaving behind, looking kind of nervous and worried, but continues leading you and on inwards into the woods. And she leads you into about 10-minute walk in. She leads you into this sort of clearing where you kind of see in the ground where this body that you found has hit the ground. You recognize it straight away, Rhiannon, but Maeve, you kind of realize it once Erla has pointed it out to you. And Erla immediately seems kind of tense, and so does Pike. her dog. He's got his ears down, and he's sort of crying and whining.
Oh.
And she says, "Begging your pardon, Master Witcher, but I'm going back. I don't want to be here."
Oh yeah, absolutely. You did what you had to do. Thank you.
Yeah. And she goes back. She's going to go back to the tavern, which is where I assume Catherine's gone as well to look after the horse and everything. So, yeah, you are left in this clearing with a very clear indentation in the ground where this body is hit. But you don't really see much else. You would kind of need to take a closer look at things. So, yeah, you can track using deduction, I believe.
I think so. Or wilderness survival.
Or wilderness, yeah, survival.
One of those. Yeah.
I mean, they're the same for me, but
one or the other.
I think yeah. Rhiannon is gonna use her deduction to see like from the outline from the body where they been hit to see like where the arrows came from.
You know, May's keeping an eye on the trees just to be safe.
Okay. What did you roll? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. 21.
Okay. You see that there are some very light indentations of footsteps. They've sort of been practiced to sort of roll lightly through like from the heel along the side of the foot to the ball. And you can kind of see that sort of quick movement, very light on the ground. They lead eastward and deeper into these trees. On some thickets kind of nearby, you see that there is a scrap of cloth. It's dark green in color. It doesn't match anything the hunter was wearing. And it's sort of been snagged and torn off. There is some blood, but it's not human. This is animal blood. And you can see that whatever was wounded, this creature, it headed off eastward as well. The same direction as the tracks. And you can definitely smell the blood if you want to track that at all.
Yeah.
There's like a little haze in the air.
Yeah, there's a
You
little
have to follow that's damn near impossible to follow in the sunlight.
Yeah, Rhiannon definitely goes over to the fabric and kind of like snacks it off the branch and like takes a whiff of it.
Yeah.
And
Maeve to herself.
You can smell the kind of scent of like the pine that you could like the pine tar that was on the arrow shafts. You can smell also on this clothing.
Okay. Yeah. She would point in the direction where the track leads, and she would just like, we have to go this way. And then she starts walking, but then stops. And kind of like stops Maeve too. And is like, I don't know what you think of the Sugaiatel, but we are not here to kill them. Just so we're clear. And then she continues walking.
She kind of just smiles and says, "Don't worry about me."
She very much does.
You're following the scent then? Okay. We'll just cut back to Catherine, who has been left at the inn still. Are you with the horse or are you inside the inn?
She would have taken care, seen to that the horse has everything it needs, and then probably went inside and just resting a bit, starting to fix up her shirt that was torn in the attack. And since she already got the stuff out for it, she would also start making a little plush animal, because sometimes when she treats children, she likes giving them something when they need to recover. Let me roll a crafting for that.
Yeah, that's what they roll your crafting.
17.
Yeah, you begin just sewing on. It's still in the stage where it's still flat. So you're doing the detailing, and then you'll put the stuff in later. And You're interrupted as you're doing this detailing by a knock on the door of the room that you have been given. And you see Erla, and sort of stood next to her, coming up to her hip is a huge dog, Pike. And she says, begging your pardon, doctor, but
Yes, please come in.
she says, perhaps it ain't my place to say, but I think you should not have left your witcher and your sorceress.
Well, I'm nursing a wound myself. I'm not sure it's the best idea to go trudging through the forest while having these stitches.
And she says, I know that, but like, you gotta understand, whatever it is that's shooting those arrows out there, it's got a lethal aim. Witcher or not, they'll bleed out. And she says, I ain't saying it like speaking out of turn, ma'am, but I'm just concerned. And as if like in agreement with those words, Pike kind of whines and puts his ears down.
Katrin is actually a little bit suspicious because this woman seems awfully keen to have also gone to the forest.
What?
You could do, what's it called? Human perception.
That was a good roll. Check my bonus because it's good. Oh yeah, that is a 21.
Yeah, you are suspicious, and for good reason. She seems to be holding something back. Not in the sense that, like, she's going to take you into the forest and kill you, but there's definitely a reason why she thinks that the other two might need help. Like, she clearly has a reason to worry that she believes in a lot.
Okay. She's like, well, take me to them then. Can lead me, right?
She says, I can. And she says, I can take you right to him. And yeah, she waits for you, to pack up and everything.
Yeah, she packs her stuff here. She packs her bow.
And she digs in her pack and she hands you a like dried piece of willow bark, which is really good for numbing. When you chew on it, it's a painkiller.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, for the pain, ma'am.
Thank you. I have my own, but it's appreciated.
Yeah.
This is a bad idea.
Yeah. And yeah, you both go.
What, us going or her coming?
Her coming.
And yeah, Pike alongside you, and you head back out into the woods. And we'll cut to Rhiannon and Maeve now. You have been following this smell, Rhiannon. Maeve, you've kind of been trailing along after this witcher that's kind of sniffing the air like a dog and running after.
In her mind, go on, girl, go get it.
And you have now, sort of through this copse of trees, it breaks out into a ruin. It's half collapsed on a sort of sloping ridge that trails down. And Maeve, you immediately recognize the architecture style as Elven in design. And you both would know, Rhiannon, you would know from like your experience sort of traveling and knowing some of the elves before, that this looks like a very old outpost. And the design and the style of it kind of leads you to think that this is an old outpost that is possibly from the time before humans arrived on the continent. So this is back when the continent was purely elven inhabited.
Yeah, Rhiannon looks at the ruin and is like, of course they would be here.
Why wouldn't they? It's One of the best places to hide.
Yeah. Rhiannon thinks about, like, considers trying to sneak in or whatever. But she's like, nah, that won't work. So
He
she's-
realizes that she has Maeve with her.
Yeah. It looks for all intents and purposes this close. It looks abandoned, but
Yeah.
the smell is leading you there.
Yeah. Rhiannon is also not really keen on just making herself known already, so she's like, they're gonna know we're coming, so she's just going ahead and walking towards the ruin, like attempting to enter it, basically.
Okay.
Maeve is following, but keeping an eye out for. She's just keeping an eye for A, traps potentially, and B, ambushes.
Oh yeah, Brian is also like definitely like keeping aware of any movement and stuff.
Yeah, as you're approaching, there is suddenly a voice that shouts out from the tree line. You recognize it's speaking Elder speech, but also common as well. You hear "Voe, halt," and yeah, there's a pause. They wait for you to stop.
I stop immediately.
Maeve as well stops and turns to where the direction of the voice is coming from.
And then you hear, "Disa, speak. Identify yourself."
Rhiannon looks at Maeve for a second, and then looks back into the direction the voice is coming from, and she says, I'm Rhiannon, the Blue Rose of Nazir. You might know me."
And Maeve says, Maeve simply, Maeve, sorceress, in Elder, speech back.
And there's a sort of silence for a moment, and then suddenly, very quickly, there's movement. And you see coming out of the trees, bows raised, arrows leveled at you, 14 Scoia'tael elves. All of them, aiming at you. And they're all wearing shades of dark green, black, and deep blues, which have this far kept them completely blended in with the tree line. Even their faces are sort of painted the same in these like sort of stripes. Some of them are wearing caps with the sort of iconic squirrel tail from where they get their name hanging from them. And then one steps out and you see this elf. He is well over 6 feet tall. He's probably just about 6.5 foot, maybe. And he's very lean. His angular face is also painted in the blues and blacks and greens. And there's a stripe of gray that goes across his eyes. He doesn't wear a cap like the other ones do, but from his belt, he has sort of clipped onto it, or tied onto it, sorry, like numerous squirrel tails, all of them sort of different shades of browns and reds, even black. And he is holding his bow in his hand. He doesn't aim it at you, but you can see clearly that he is the one who holds control here. And he seems to shout over his shoulder to the ruin that's sort of like in front of you now. And he speaks entirely in Elder speech. And he says, "Het is noodlings, agle. And wat gern? And de eren is an sida." And you would know, Maeve, that means it's Nordlings or Northerners. Agle, a sorceress and a witcher, and the sorceress is an elf.
Is Nazir far enough into the south that they speak Elder speech there?
You would know it a little bit. possibly not enough to be like completely fluent, but you would know enough of it. So you would recognize the words witcher and sorceress, and you would also recognize, being called a Nordling and such.
Okay.
And you recognize the word for elf, so you would probably
piece together whatever it is.
Yeah, Rhiannon just kind of like slowly puts her hands up and like, we're just here to talk.
And as if backing you up, Maeve, you would recognize, elder speech again. There's a sort of softer voice that comes from behind this ruin, distinctly feminine, and she says, "Kem, Darren, dien vatgan disa, na Darren." You would know that means hold your aim, Darren. Let the witcher speak, or the sorceress. And this elf, Darren, looks, sort of frowns sharply, and says in common, he says, I will speak now in common if it's easier for you. And you can see he seems not very impressed.
Understandably so.
That would be appreciated. I do speak some elder speech, but in the interest of not to cause any misunderstandings.
And this elf, Darren, he looks you up and down, and he says, only because you're a Vatgan, we will trust you.
Much appreciated.
And he then makes a signal for that with his hand and says, En! And all the owls immediately, like with their practiced sort of perfect, just drop their arrows, roll their bows up back onto their shoulders, and shove the arrows back in their quivers in like a fluid movement. And he says, my name's Darren, and I am a lieutenant of the Skoyata. And that's where we will end it for today.
Hey!
Oh, geez, it's so nerve-wracking every time I have to speak in elder speech.
You do a really good job of it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Oh,
You sound very cool.
But yeah, so we'll do plugs and stuff, and in that time, Nova, you can do the ramble thing.
Yeah.
And okay, so we'll start with Hera first.
Oh God, no.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
I'm Hera. You can follow me on Twitter at HeraHex, or also here on Twitch, where I hope to be streaming some more soon. Either XCOM 2 or more Dark Souls, and talking about game design and stuff. Yeah, that's what I do there when I stream, which is rare, but I want to do more. And I think everything else Vex will bring up, and she knows the times better than I do, because I'm really bad with them, and especially now with the difference between daylight saving times, which is really annoying. But yeah.
Okay. And Vex.
Hi, Vex. You can find me on Twitter at VexyHexy. You can also find me on a myriad of other TTRPG games, mainly the one that's going to be on tonight on my channel at Fractured Moon D&D at 9:30 p.m. EST. We are starting a campaign that I will be GMing of Ghost of Saltmarsh, where Hera is a player of. You can also find both Hera and I on Thursdays on the same channel at 4:30 p.m. EST, where we play a 5e homebrew, I'm going to call it, setting called Retroverse, where we play all Anthro characters, and it is a whole lot of chaos. And you can also find Nova there as well.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I was going to add Nova to it. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And Nova?
Yes. Before I forget, I'm going to pick the winner really quick.
Okay.
And the winner is DJ McCracken. So...
Ooh, yay, congrats. Nova will reach out with a whisper, you give her your email, and I will then pass it on to Art House Story and Games, and they will email you your PDF copy of The Witcher TTRPG.
Yeah. And also, hi, I'm Nova. You can mostly find me on Twitter as Gift Nova Gaming, and also here on Twitch as Gift Nova. I do a bunch of my own like video game streams on my channel all week except for Wednesdays and Saturdays at 10 a.m. EST. And you can also find me on 2 of our Heroes Without Limits shows here, like this one, Silver and Steel, and I'm also playing in Twilight Grove, which is on alternating Tuesdays at 4 p.m. EST, I want to say. I
think so.
Time is weird. But yeah, I don't know, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. I do a bunch of stuff. And yeah.
And I guess me, I'm Sarah, or Mustang, I really don't mind which. You can follow me on Twitter at mustangsart. I kind of do a bit of all sorts over there, and at the minute I'm kind of going through setting up my full-time freelancing career. Terrifying. And working and stuff on TTRPGs full-time, which will be very fun. I've got a bunch of stuff in the works, including a Patreon, which will be coming out, and stuff on that, which you can support me through. In an hour's time from now, over on my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/mustangsart, you can catch me running Death House, or part 1 of Death House, for 4 people who it was for my 3,000 follower giveaway. I was like, I'll pick 4 winners to play Death House, and we've only now just got around to it because my university's closed, so I've got plenty of free time now, I guess. So you can tune in there in an hour's time and catch us playing Death House. You'll get to hear my myriad of Barovian accents. But at least there's no elder speech for me to have to speak, so yes.
It was really good, though.
Yeah, okay. I'll believe you this time. But yeah,
only this time, though.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. We'll tune in next week for episode 4, in which more Squirtle.
Yay!
Exciting times, and possibly some backstory stuff. Yay! But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be safe. Wash your hands.
Yeah. Stay hydrated.
Water.
Wash your hands.
And drink water. Lots of it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.